Good morning, everyone. Yeah, sit down. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church. We are a welcoming congregation where we strive to transform ourselves and the world through love, wonder, and connection. My name is Peter Defer. I use he, him pronouns. Now, I have a special announcement from the tech team, of which I am a member, as well as being a member of the choir and Tuesday singers and the hymn jammers and the official troublemakers. So the announcement is not just put your phones on silent, but if you can figure out how to push two buttons at once, turn them off. Because with them on, even in silent, they do occupy some bandwidth. And so we're trying to diminish the probability of electronic communication interruption, right? Sandy's looking at me like I'm speaking Greek. So today is Super Bowl Sunday, if you hadn't known. We're here for a fan-themed service. Members, 3 of them, will share their experiences about topics from sports, fandom, and how they've experienced inclusion through rooting for a team. Team, emphasis on team. But first, I'm going to invite my good friend Jane Lux to give us an update on the call process.
First of all, Callahan, where are you? We are. Yes. We know the secret words. Good morning, I'm Jane Lux, and I'm one of the 5 call process task force members, along with Kathy Wimmett, Carrie Williams-Jensen, Michelle Bertrand, and Steve Smith. We are nearly done with our small group discussions. Today, after Sunday service, is your last opportunity to add your thoughts and visions to our report for the future of UUC's ministry internally and externally in our community. Today's group is the last of 10 we've held in the past 6 weeks. Many thanks to those wonderful members who, without hesitation, agreed to invite others into their homes for snacks and share in a facilitated discussion about UUCC's future. Thanks so much to the Lunch Bunch and Sandy, the Dalbin-Specks, the Defers, the Woods, the Luxes, and the Copper Kleins. I also want to thank our volunteer note takers who had the monumental task of attempting to capture all your responses to our 5 important discussion questions. Kathy Wimmett, Lisa Poe, Susan Wood, Mary Virginia Curry, Steve Smith, Vicki Dickinson, Sarah Long, and Diane Pominski. So thank those folks afterwards. Good job. And a huge thanks goes to the almost 90 members, it will be 90 after today's group, who took time to sign up and participate in one of the groups. That's amazing. Now, if you feel like you missed out on this great opportunity, you still have today to be able to drop in for an hour and a half after the service to add your thoughts to our summary record. If you didn't have a chance to attend one of the groups and would like to share your thoughts, please see me after the service and we can talk about how that might be possible. Speaking of that summary report, that is our present task. We've reviewed notes, we're editing typos and compiling the notes in the UUA recommended format and plan to make that available to you in the very near future. Your job is to thoughtfully read that report and attend a congregational meeting in full force to ensure that we have 40% of the membership quorum there, and then vote on whether or not you want UUCC to call Reverend Sarah to be the settled minister at UUCC. We anticipate the date for that congregational meeting will be Sunday, March 9th. Initially, the task force thought the vote might be scheduled for March 2nd, but we now believe that we will need more time to be able to compile the report and provide time for the board to review it. And so now we're recommending March 9th, but keep those two dates just in your thought until we confirm with the board. If you cannot be here for the vote in person, have no fear. You will be given the option to submit an absentee ballot at least 3 days in advance of the congregational meeting. You will see announcements and directions via email and in the e-news on how to do that. So again, thank you so much for your participation in the discussion groups, and please let any of the task force members know if you have questions. Thank you.
Wow! Now let us return to the game. But before we begin the play, let me introduce the starting lineup to you so you know who all the players are. Up first is our own hometown, homegrown Carrie Williams Jensen, tech extraordinaire and this morning's worship associate. She's also a singer in the choir. Whoa. Next, coming down the center aisle in her 12th year on Team UUCC is the DREE of UUCC, Adina, the storyteller Deneuve. Okay, now our next person in the lineup was drafted by UUCC from Medford, Massachusetts. Our very own Diane Christensen, Boston's biggest transplant. Okay. Now, coming on the back of the read is Mr. Mystery and Mr. Tech, Scott Krell. Okay. She may be new to you, but she's not new to you. Here comes one of our draft picks. Came in this fall, rookie Taylor Giordano. Now tickling those keys over there. Give it up for our own Jonathan Corey. So the red and pink team this morning is being led by our very own, the magnificent, the wonderful, the talented Susan Baggett. And just a minute, we're going to get one more person up here, and then we're going to have a huddle up. But that last person is the person who leads us on the drive. There she is, Amy McKnight, and she's got special assistants coming in from Tara and Callahan Keller. So come on and put them in the huddle here. Not quite yet. Come on, Callahan. Come on into the... All right, here we go. Ready, huddle up. 1, 2, 3, UUCC! Okay, as I promised. Okay, we're going to see where we go on our drive next. Where are we going, Miss McKnight? Here you go. And who's she gonna pick up as a hitchhiker?
Okay, on the drive, heading to UUCC. What a great night we had last night at Cawthorn Cafe. That was so much fun. I'm so glad everybody came. All right, well, let's see where the road takes us today. Oh, I see a couple hitchhikers. like Cawthorn?
Why, yes, we are. In fact, we too are headed to UUCC because it's a happening place and a place where great financial gifts are welcome.
That is true. In fact, we welcome people's time, treasure, and talents. I also appreciate the opportunities for fellowship and how welcoming UUCC is. Yesterday's stewardship kickoff, the Cawthorn Cafe, was an example of a fun opportunity for fellowship, and they didn't even ask us for a pledge.
I understand that the link to the pledge will open on February 23rd and will be open until the campaign closes on Sunday, March 2nd. Is that right?
That is right. By the way, why do you go to UUCC? What do you love about it?
Going to church means to me that I like everything there. My favorite part is already because I like having more fun with all the kids and Miss Dina. I would like in the future to see some pets, some foster pets in places so we would not only be inside church pets.
That is a great idea, Callahan. What about you, Tara?
We come to UUCC for community and inclusivity. It's a place to explore faith and belief systems without the pressure of judgment of other people. What I really like about it is our mission. Love is the message of this church. It's based on love and service and choosing to show up for people rather than by inspiring actions by fear and guilt. We have heard all about this year's pledge drive, and we want to join UUCC on the drive.
Great, and that is so true. Can you also tell me what you would like to see in the future of UUCC?
Well, as I said before, maybe some foster pets. Pets are so much fun.
What I would like to see in the future is more family programming events and attempts to get more families into UUCC. Maybe even a committee that focuses on efforts to get into more communities where families are.
Those are lofty and important goals. Thank you for sharing. We need big ideas as we move forward as a liberal religious community. We need to stand firm for what we believe in: love, community, wonder, and connection. It is also so important that we all pitch in to help make this the most successful stewardship campaign ever at UUCC. Now that we are almost at UUCC on Cawthorn Road, let me remind everyone that now is the time to think about your pledges for this upcoming campaign year. Please join us on the drive, and if you can, please up your pledge as we continue on our religious journey.
Oh, I see you coming up. Good morning. Hey, yes, remember to pause so people can respond. Okay. So this morning's service, you will see, it is a little different. It's going to be a lot of fun. So as Peter introduced me, I am Carrie Williams Jensen, and I use she, her pronouns, and am involved in a lot of different things. Whether you are here for the first time or 1,000th time, welcome. Whatever you are facing in your own life, welcome. This is a place where we try our very best to be real with one another, to get through hard things together, and to remind ourselves and one another of the values that ground and center us, that motivate and move us. So whoever you are, whatever your faith journey, whomever you love, you are welcome here. We welcome all who seek to know the sacred and all who seek to make our world more just. Our commitment is to be together in covenant, so please join me in our affirmation of who this community is, beginning with that all-important word: love is the message of this church, and service is our way. This is our great covenant together, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now let's join in singing our opening hymn, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, which is 361 from our gray hardcover hymnal. So please rise in body or in spirit. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. And you may be seated. Now for our chalice lighting, join me in saying our chalice lighting words by Gretchen Haley as Michelle Newley Bertram, I almost used the old one, lights our chalice. So courage is forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit and comes alive in this act of faith, that we believe still a new world is possible, that we are creating it already here and now. And now, Miss Dina.
Good morning. Please join me now in our time of meditation and prayer. Find a comfortable place for your body, noticing your breathing, finding your center. Take a moment to just be. And hear these words from Elizabeth Mount before, during, after a storm. Perhaps the most important thing to remember is not that it will be okay. In many ways, it simply won't be. You, your neighbors, your loved ones will lose pets, lives, memories, furniture, access to water and food. You may lose your trust in nature, in the cycles of life. You and your pets will settle at a slamming door, listen too intently to the creaks of the floorboards, wondering if another tree is falling, if another piece of your life is about to come apart. And it will hurt, and you will go numb, and everything will be so hard for longer than you imagined. But also, there will be help and community and kindness and more people who want you to come out of it well and whole than you could ever believe possible. Things are at their worst amidst the aftermath of a disaster, but people, so many people, become their best. Amen. And as we come together every Sunday from our own separate lives and our own separate homes, we bring with us a variety of joys and sorrows and fears and hopes. We take time in our service now to honor those big feelings together. We share this as a contemplative time, each of us given an opportunity to share what lifts us up and what weighs us down. Today, we will light candles of joy and hope to lift up the bright things in our lives, and we will also place stones to hold our sorrows and fears and to ease the weight from our spirits. In a moment, I will invite folks to come forward, but first, if you're online, please use the chat to participate in our ritual. Write your name and the word stone or candle, and we will add them to our altar. If you are in the room and would like someone to light a candle for you, please raise your hand. We'll start over here. And if you would like a stone placed for your sorrow, please raise your hand. And anyone who would like to come forward may do so now, coming around each side and exiting through the middle. light a candle for Maria. For Porter. For Renee. For Carol and for Elaine. And while she's catching up, we'll do our stones. We place a stone for Carol, a stone for Renee, a stone for Elaine, and then we light one final candle for all the joys that remain in our hearts, and place one final stone for the remaining sorrows this morning. And together we'll join in our sung prayer response, There is a Love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all we rest in this love. Amen. And hi, my name is Adina Danuf. I use she or they pronouns, and I am your director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. And today I'm going to share a rewrite of a story that originally comes from UU minister and story writer and team player Christopher Buse. And in this version, once upon a time, there was a stadium. Okay, you with me? Stadium. And there was an aisle that went straight down the center of the seats. And one day at a game, something happened. A fan walked down the aisle, and she was famous. She wore a jersey and some cool shoes, and all the fans stopped to stare at her as she walked by. Stop and stare. And they kept staring until she disappeared all the way down the aisle beyond the concessions, okay? It was really cool to see someone famous, said one man from over here, and what a great Eagles jersey she had on. Yes, it was cool to see her, said a woman from the other side. But it wasn't an Eagles jersey she was wearing, it was a Chiefs jersey. You are wrong, said the man. It was definitely an Eagles jersey. No, you are wrong, said the woman. It was definitely a Chiefs jersey. And the two argued. So much so that others started joining in the dispute, and soon the whole section was arguing. And all the people on one side of the aisle were certain that this famous lady was wearing a jersey repping the Eagles. And all the people, we're going to get another chance to try that again. On the other side of the aisle, we're certain that she was wearing a jersey representing the Chiefs. And people got mad. And they started screaming at each other, and they would scream, Eagles! Chiefs! Eagles! Chiefs! Eagles! And people got so mad that security had to come and put dividers up down the center of that aisle. And from that point on, the people on one side of the aisle were enemies with the people on the other side of the aisle, and they never spoke to each other. And on one side of the aisle, you could always hear people, except for Callahan for some reason, yelling, Eagles! And then on the other side of the aisle, you would still hear people yelling, Chiefs! Including Callahan. And many minutes passed. That concession line was pretty long. And the people were still enemies, but then after many hot dogs and pretzels and nachos had been procured, the famous person started walking back down the aisle. And she was smiling and she was balancing all her stuff the way that you do when you have a handful of concessions. And while walking between the dividers, they saw that this time she was wearing a jacket. And you couldn't see her jersey at all. And all of the people ran over to the dividers and someone yelled, "You must settle our argument." "Yes," said one man. "The people on the other side of the aisle said that when you walked through, you were wearing an Eagle jersey. But we know better. We know you were wearing Callahan. So, tell us, which team are you cheering for?" And she looked puzzled for a moment and looked down at her jacket. Oh yeah, and she started putting down all of her snacks and started taking off her jacket, and you look up at the slide, you'll see, I have one son on each team, so today I'm wearing my jersey that says Eagles on one side and Chiefs on the other. It's actually real. It's a custom-made jersey that her sons made for her the last time these two teams were in the Super Bowl. And saying nothing more, Mama Kelsey picked up her snacks and continued walking back to her seat until she disappeared off into the distance. And it was very quiet for a moment. And suddenly there was the sound of Callahan laughing. And then another child started laughing, and another, and soon the whole section was roaring with laughter. Everyone was laughing because they realized how foolish they had been. And as the sound of laughter grew louder, physics people don't say anything here, and louder, the dividers finally began to fall down. They were laughing so loud. And for many, many years after that day, the people told the story of Mama Kelsey, her sons Travis Kelsey of the Chiefs and Jason Kelsey, formerly of the Eagles, and how laughter had torn down the wall that divided a foolish people. Now, a few things before I let you go. One, a special game is actually happening between those two teams today that might be super important to you or that might not interest you at all. But often, when you are a fan of something, you feel really drawn together with other people who are also fans. A common connection may make you feel like you are less alone in the world. I saw fans of certain bands wearing shirts today, and I bet you get excited when you hear their songs on the radio or in the grocery store, right? Fans of The Boy Wizard feel joy when they see the Hollows in the wild. Fans of certain soccer teams may like to see other clubs' logos, not because they are fans of the same team, but because you get excited about the same sport, right? And just like how tabletop role-playing game enthusiasts get a little giddy when they see a 16-sided die.
20!
I didn't count. Okay. Fandom pins some groups against each other sometimes, but it often also brings groups together. So, though fans of these two teams might not be likely to reach across the aisle today, in a few hours, American football fans everywhere might feel connected in enjoying the big game. And fans of food everywhere might feel connected enjoying those snacks, right? So as you head into the world today, I hope you keep your open mind and remember that just because someone isn't a fan of the same thing you are, doesn't mean that they're wrong. Try to use a little laughter and enjoyment to break down the walls between you. And one more side note, because some of you might have thought that famous person was Taylor Swift, right? For the record, she might be dating a Chiefs player, but she is a lifelong Eagles fan. Go Birds. And we're gonna go to class.
thank you, Adina. I know she's gone, but still out into the universe. Now, please join me in our offering and acknowledging all the ways we give to this church and this world. We give because this is our church, and we value what it does for us, and through us to our community and our world. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this church, inside and outside our walls. May we give in love and in hope. Thank you for your offering and all the ways you give to our life and ministry with your time, talent, treasure, and trust. Together, our gifts allow us to expand and strengthen the tapestry of love, wonder, and connection that blesses this church and transforms us and our world. And now Taylor is making her way. She is going to be doing our first reading.
Our first reading this morning is If Life Were Like Touch Football by Julie Cadwallader-Staub. Driving north on Route 2A from Vermont to Maine, listening to the news. The New England Patriots coach was caught trying to videotape the hand signals of the New York Giants. I remember how we 6 sisters would recruit a few boys from the neighborhood for a pickup game of touch football in the street. How we'd break into teams, huddle around whomever was chosen to be quarterback. How the QB would extend her left palm flat into the middle of the huddle, plant the index finger of her right hand in the center of her palm, and then, with finger motions and whispers, she would diagram who was to go where and when in order to so confuse and fool the other team that one of us could break free and go long. Oh, that feeling of running as fast as I could, extending my arms, my hands, my fingers as far as I could, watching that spiraling bullet of a football, reminding myself, if you can touch it, you can catch it. If you can touch it, you can catch it.
Thank you, Taylor. And our second reading is from Reverend Michael Tino, called March Madness. One of the potential spiritual lessons of sports comes in its ability to connect people to each other as well as to a team of strangers. Not too long ago, I was in a workshop in which we were discussing peak experiences, those mystical, transcendent experiences of what Abraham Maslow would call self-actualization. During peak experiences, it is said one finds connectedness with the universe around us. Sometimes one is overwhelmed with that sense of being part and parcel of a vast and wondrous creation. Many of my colleagues described experiences like sitting on mountain ridges at sunset or finding deep inner peace on a meditation retreat. I thought of women's basketball. The date was March 22nd, 1999. The place, the Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. Duke faced Tennessee, who had won 3 national championships in a row and were, by all accounts, headed for their 4th. I sat in the Duke section, a tiny sliver of blue in a sea of Tennessee orange. And yet, somehow, our little group managed to pull together and make more noise than the Lady Vols fans, a disparity that grew as the Blue Devils took and held the lead. Needless to say, Duke won that game and we left elated. But what stays in my memory is the experience of connection with the other fans as well as with the Duke players. We could tell that our cheering helped the players on the team reach for that extra something they needed to beat the best team in the country. And again, they rose to the challenge, making us cheer even louder. It was a cycle of connection that brought me, at least, to a different level of being. And now, our Tuesday singer. And now we're gonna have, thank you, Tuesday singers. And now we're gonna have 3 reflections on being a fan of something and how it affected us or influenced us. Diane is coming first, and then Scott, and then
So good, so good. Sweet Caroline. It's the Red Sox theme. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Diane Christensen. I use she, her pronouns. I am your designated batter and have been placed in a lineup to speak about how sports have helped me feel included. I am a shameless Boston sports fan. My parents were both from the greater Boston area. My father loved all the major league teams: Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics, Patriots. And my mother loved the Red Sox, and after marrying my father, came to love the teams as well. To be a part of my family, I was the youngest, was to love the Boston sports. Even last evening, my brother and I texted during the games. Both the Bruins and Celtics played. As I have aged, I have expanded my world of sports. I still root for my teams, but will also cheer for others. And by the way, I'll cheer for both the Eagles and, and the Chiefs today, because however it goes, I'll be cheering for good plays. You may not know that I am extremely shy. I am. I have a hard time getting past my general pleasantries, not knowing quite what to say. It has been a difficult time all my life, but the one thing I could talk about was sports, and so I did. And some of you may realize I still do. After Gail and I met, we realized we both loved the Red Sox. We enjoyed going to Fenway Park together to watch the Sox. Just prior to moving to Richmond, we wheeled my 84-year-old aunt into Fenway Park to see what would be her final game at Fenway. After we moved to Richmond, Gail and I were searching for a church. First Church did not draft us. Eventually, we visited other teams where we were met by a smiling older gentleman with red spectacles and a Red Sox hat. Here is someone I can speak with and whom I have a common interest. We joined some cleanup activities and were recruited by UUCC. We signed on. We hit it out of the park in finding this community. I work with a lot of children in the court system. Difficult, especially for older, to open and talk to them about sports. If they play a sport, they talk about what they do and how they enjoy it. If they like a team, we talk about how they are doing. I'll ask about favorite players. I've found that once we get the ball rolling, we can cover the bases in our conversations. Sports has allowed me to come out of my shyness to meet, talk, and become friends with all sorts of people. Sports has assisted me in feeling included and helped me roll with the punches through life. Thank you. And I think we have a tech coming up, a techie coming up.
None shall pass! Wait. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. None shall pass by my gaming table and not be invited to sit down. Yeah, that's better. So, I'm sure you figured out, I'm a bit of a gamer. I play all sorts of games. Board games, video games,
phone games, and a slightly well-known pen and paper game, tabletop, called Dungeons and Dragons. But one of the things I love about all games is that, for the most part, as long as one can understand the rules, one is welcome to the table. The game doesn't care where you care, worry about everything. As long as you are a good sport, everyone is encouraged to partake. There's definitely a feeling of belonging amongst us who engage in gameplay, knowing that you are amongst people who enjoy the shuffling of cards, the movement of the game pieces, the learning of the rules, and the interplay between the gamers that occurs during this shared activity is quite a thrill. There's nothing quite so familial and exciting as when I discover the person to whom I am speaking is into gaming. There's almost a palpable thrill in sharing one's favorite games and learning about new ones. When I came to UCC, I had been gaming with a friend a long time, and he would occasionally miss or be late to our sessions by saying, oh, I had to go to church. And for me, church meant that big building with some other religion. And the first time I came into the door and I saw him, my gamer buddy, I'm like, oh, this church, this is what you meant. And immediately was welcomed. And amongst many of you, I have found good gamer friends, and I am very welcome and very happy. So yeah, I'm a gamer. Come find me after service if you want to throw some dice or go on an adventure or just play a game of Go Fish. Because at my table, there's always room for another gamer.
Okay, so I don't have anything written down, so my story I'm calling A Tale of Two Mosh Pits. If defining what a mosh pit is outside the scope of this, feel free to Google. So my fandom is music. I love sports, but music is my soul. And so the directions also didn't say it had to have a tie to UUCC, but I think I've made one. So, Tale of Two Mosh Pits. So imagine 1991. I was seeing Fishbone, and I think Ika Mouse was opening up for them. And actually, I wanted to start with the other one first. I've told this story so many times, sometimes Fishbone's first, sometimes Primus. So the other show was in Hampton at the Boathouse, which this is before it was ever a restaurant. This is the gigging place, and in Norfolk. And so Primus and Fishbone were playing there. We had seen Fishbone and Ika Mouse, super fun show. And we like Primus, and so, hey, Primus and Fishbone at the same place. So it's me and my boyfriend, who is about that tall, so, you know, we're not imposing figures. And because we love music and like to actually see the folks doing the performing, we were like right there in front of where shoot, I can't think of his name. Lead singer of Primus was about to start. And I started looking around, and I'm like, huh, I'm the only girl. Like standing around here. Steve's right here. Has his little cute hat, quilted, like kind of patchwork, little brim, which comes into play in a minute. So lights go down. Primus hits the first chord, and all of a sudden, I am no longer in charge of where I'm standing, as the people around me are pushing around. My feet are coming off the floor, And, it's feeling a little out of control. I look over, Steve isn't there. I see his hat waving in the air at the end of someone's hand. I jump up and snatch it, and I've got it. Oh, Steve comes back. And so we were in the maybe about a minute, and I looked at him and I said, can we please get out of here? And so we did, and stood off, kind of a little further away, watching Primus and finish the show. Still enjoyed it and whatnot. It is a small venue, small-ish venue, so it was okay. But that was not a happy mosh pit. And Primus, it isn't like it was angry. It was just a different vibe. They were just more pushing around. So the other mosh pit, which actually had happened before, was when we saw Ika Mouse and Fishbone. Ska, if you're not familiar with what kind of music Fishbone plays. So that mosh pit, that was at, Flood Zone, when we saw them. This is where we saw them. And that show, I did ruin a pair of shoes. However, Fishbone was playing like the whole time. It was this like happy, cool vibe. I fell down, as did almost everybody. The difference was, so I'm down in the people, they're up there, and I don't know, at least 5 or 6 different hands reached down, picked me back up on my feet so I could commence to, bouncing back around, up and down with everybody. So imagine like little, 18-year-old me. So bouncing around. And so that is where I see the connection or maybe comparison with UUC in that while other organizations might not have like an angry, anti-human necessarily vibe, it's just different, and they're not necessarily, gonna pick you up and whatnot. Where here, we're all bouncing around, and when we do fall, there are lots of us around who are very willing to reach in and pick us up. So that is my story. And thank you. And it's all right. Okay, so I didn't get. So please rise in body and spirit as we sing our closing hymn, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, with adapted lyrics from Adina and Jonathan.
Preach me a sermon that
In preparation for our closing, let us reach out to each other in whatever way we feel comfortable. And when you go, go in peace. Leave this place knowing that you are good and knowing that you are loved. Take your dark and your light and your love from this place, share them with the world, and stay safe until we meet again. Amen. Thank you, everyone. And just FYI, if you are coming to the Call Task Force meeting, it is, oh, okay, so it is actually downstairs. Okay. Oh, okay, it's in here. It's upstairs, as opposed to what the email said at 11:30. Okay, did I say all the things?
I'm retiring March 6th.